Aloha Kohala. It is 3:01 on March 22nd, 2023, and you're listening to KNKRLP 96.1 FM Kohala. Aloha.
And here we are with Intuitive Talk Story.
With Eila Algood and
Michál Anna.
Yeah. So we have some folks in the room today.
Oh, we do.
P-Love's here with
Miss
Aina. Yes.
Miss Aina's in the house.
That's
from
kind of fun.
California.
We haven't done that
And via Ukraine, via California.
multitude of places. Yes.
Welcome, Aina.
Yes.
And welcome, P-Love.
Thanks.
Nice to have her in the studio. If you haven't caught her show, it's every Friday.
And Monday.
And Monday.
She's got two shows.
And what time is that?
Friday 6 to 10.
Friday 6 to 10.
Encore Sunday 8 to 10 and Thursday 1 to 3.
Oh boy. All right. Well,
Okay,
anyway.
there's a lot out there. She's
There's
got
a lot
full
out
schedule.
there.
P-Love,
All right.
check her out on knkr.org. So it is the equinox. We just entered through the equinox right now. I'm not an astrologer, but I know there's really big transits going on. One being Pluto moving into
Aquarius. I
tomorrow.
actually know this.
Right,
I
or
actually
in the
know
next
that.
2 days, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's exciting because that's a big movement. So, you know, there's a lot of movement going on, and I don't know if anyone wants to call in today. We would love to hear from you because there's so much movement. I'd love to hear if you're experiencing the literal movement, meaning the wobble, the whoa. There's a lot of that going through as we are literally shifting and moving into greater timelines. If you're like, what is she talking about? What does she mean? Well, we're making choices, big choices, all on a personal level about where we want to be, where we're going to create from in the next while. And so it's a big time. So a lot of people are experiencing maybe even heaviness or intensity in your muscles, your bones, a need to shake it out as we kind of morph and move. It kind of like it's like a kind of feeling as we're shifting into this other dimensional space. So
Yeah. Well, you know, so last night we had this magical experience at your place, which was the sound healing with the crystal bowls, these beautiful bowls, and P-Love was there and Aina was there. And then you guided us with this meditation kind of, it's more like guided imagery because you don't want people to take off on the meditation. So sometimes we use that word meditation when we mean something else.
Visualization.
Visualization.
I keep going back and forth on this. I'm like, is it prayerlization?
Oh, I like that. Prayer.
Prayerlization.
I don't know if I can say
prayer.
it.
That's
Yes.
kind of, I know, but it doesn't have a real ring off the tongue. I'm not sure.
That's a tongue twister, yeah. But anyway, I found that so interesting to because you took us through this journey of where we are and where we want to go and what we want that to feel like. A lot of times we think we want certain things in our life. We want a bigger house or a smaller house or another place to live or a new relationship. But it's really the feeling that's behind that we want. And going into those feelings was very exciting, kind of empowering for me because it wasn't about the outside end result. It's like, what do I want to feel? Ooh.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, this is so important because literally we are vibrating our reality, right? So it is our vibrational feeling, our resonance that we're attracting and calling forth more unto us. So we can't really fake our vibration.
No, you can't.
That's the thing.
You
can
can't.
be like, I'm not mad. I'm not angry. I said I'm not angry. I can't fake it though because my energy and vibration is going to still be what it is. So we want to get we want to get in alignment with the vibration that we're wanting to create. And what we did in that too, which was really important part of that, is moving through any resistance we had with that beautiful vision. So some of us might have a vision of what we want, but we don't believe we're worthy of it, or we don't think I have enough money or enough, well, I could never have that, or I don't deserve this.
You know, a lot of people, what I've noticed over my life is a lot of people don't dream big enough. It's like they're afraid to dream big enough. And whatever that is, whatever big is to you. So I think what you're saying is really important because if we don't, we need to look at that resistance, not just say, I'm going to let go and not be resistant, but notice oh, I am resistant, but what is it? What's under that so I can clear it?
Exactly. And
Yeah.
so that resistance is attached. And I think Jamie and Lydia were discussing some of this earlier. Pain in the body, emotions. So literally they're attached to pain, emotions, trauma. And so we're clearing all of the trauma. And I put out an update, and check it out on YouTube on my channel, Michal Anna, talking a little more deeply about these things and the need to really not take with us into this new chapter any of the old programs. And that can mean something like maybe I don't want to cut people off anymore. I'm going to make that, and I'm not taking that with me.
In the car or with your mouth?
With my mouth. With my mouth. So, you know, like things like that. You can think like, what are some things I really don't want to take with me anymore? That's not really serving me.
Yeah.
And get real honest, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Get
I had
honest
one of those
about it.
come up yesterday, which is I tend to get a little snippy. When
Yeah.
things aren't going the way I think they're supposed to go, I get snippy rather than just expressing maybe what my need is or what my thought is or what my feeling is. I just get short, snippy. And then I'm not really, I don't like being that way. Like I can feel it's not a great vibration to be in. And anybody around me is not going to love that either. So I think it's good to look at those things, those qualities that we'd like to improve on or let go of.
Well, and they're attached to what we were just talking about. So the manifesting, in order to manifest the vibrational reality that we want to live in, we have to literally clear out the densities that are keeping us from experiencing that vibrational reality. Dense energies can't exist in a higher field. It's just physics. So literally those energies, we've talked about this a lot. Please reference the vibrational, emotional, like the vibrational ladder, the chart of vibrational emotions. Thank you.
Yes.
Chart of vibrational emotions. That is really cool to understand because it really gives you a really clear frequency on what emotions are what. And you see like, oh, wow, I thought I was maybe real high, but no, I'm only resonate. If I'm just doing willingness, I'm still way down here. So we need to move up that vibrational ladder. We've talked about this a lot. Gratitude, forgiveness are great ways to do that. And we have to do that in this process of releasing. We do need to forgive ourselves and others, or if needed, and get into a place of emptying our bowl, releasing what no longer is serving, and say we're willing to let this go. And so that piece is really important, which is that resistance. So that resistance, I think people actually want to dream big, you know, but their wounding or their pain, it doesn't allow one to do so because it stops one prior to that dreaming section. In order to dream, that means you have a real sense of security and foundation already. You're fed, you're eating, you're feeling kind of healthy, you're feeling like safe.
Yeah.
In order to really dream, right? So that's part of our problem here on this planet is we don't have safe, healthy environments where people feel like they're nurtured and encouraged to dream because it is a system where it's very much been this old paradigm of dog-eat-dog, separation, hierarchy, competition. There's only one, you know, there's one person at the top. So we're literally swiping all that to the side and we're going, yeah, we're done with that paradigm. We're going to walk into cooperation, into communion with all life by first looking within the self and being real honest about what's going on in my house. Right? What's happening in this house right here?
Right, my
Half
body.
the problem is we don't want to go there. Well, there's a hole in the wall. I don't have time to look at it right now. I gotta go. But do you see the hole? We'll look at it later.
Yeah.
Well, once we acknowledge that there's a hole in the wall, now we're like, oh,
You can't
there's a
miss it
hole.
now.
Oh, now every time I come in, I see the hole.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, I gotta fix that hole. And then we do some action. So once something is ignited or seen, then you've already started changing it. Half the battle is being willing to ignite it or see it because our egos get in the way and they are programming, tell us, no, you don't need that. Or you don't, oh, you're good. Oh, I'm fine. Whatever it tells us that wants to hide you. Hide something. So I came up with a good one today. The first part is oh yeah, and that's the intro to this. So I came up with a good one today, which is the first part's not new. Whatever you resist persists, but whatever you embrace, you erase.
I'm going to have to meditate on that one for a while.
So I'll say it again. Whatever you resist persists. Whatever you embrace, you erase. So when you embrace it, it's literally like it's all the, hey, you want to go play? You want to go play? Until you're like, I'm so annoyed. Stop doing that. I'm going to keep doing it until you're no longer annoyed, and you just love me for doing this, and you're just so glad that I'm going, hey, you want to play? Hey, and you're just like, I love you, whatever.
Yeah.
Until you do that, it's going to keep going. Hey, hey, and then as soon as you love it, I'm like, ha ha ha, we laugh and we're done.
Yeah, and then it doesn't drive you crazy anymore.
Well, because it's not really. Now, wait. So in order for it to not drive you crazy, though, this is actually very deep, because it's the crux of many things. Mm-hmm. It means you have to realize that whatever is in front of you, in whatever form, is you. Mm-hmm. So that means when I am going, God, you just stop, I don't want to talk about this, or, I really don't want to do it. When I'm starting to feel that feeling, whatever is presenting in front of me really is me. So I have to embrace and go, I love this aspect, and some of them I've seen for myself lately, like, oh, gosh, you know what? I did this exact thing maybe a decade ago that I'm seeing in a friend or something like that. Mm-hmm. Where you go, and it might be annoying me now, but it annoys me because I did it.
Well, I think
that
that's
was me.
right.
Oh, and so I get to love that part of me. I get to reach and embrace, because honestly, the resistance is so strong. It's tricky. It's like, nah, you're good. It does so little tricky things. The full embrace is to go here and experience the feeling of love. Wherever you're feeling it, like right now, we all can experience, if anything I'm saying is even bringing up anything, just bring up an experience of love through our body and experience what does that feel like to let that go. Any place you think, well, I don't resist. Well, if we're willing to just go, maybe I do. Everything withstands scrutiny, right? So any place we're going, well, yeah, we're moving into resistance. So I am you and you are me.
Okay. So why are they all laughing?
There was a little subtext there.
That was hilarious. Oh, I'm so glad P11 and I are in the house. Oh, Miss Eila, we were pushing Miss Eila through today.
Through some buttons.
Oh yeah, Eila, that's right.
Well,
I want to move through some of your resistance, sister. Let's get in there. Let's get into that resistance. What's going on in there? Don't push it in. Bring it on out.
Yeah. So what's going on in there? So sometimes when I'm interacting with someone and I can see things that they're doing that's not serving them, or my judgment, I guess, is that it's not serving them, and it seems like they're just perpetuating their own misery, that's where I'm a little challenged with, that's a reflection of me, because I don't feel like I'm in that place at that moment of perpetuating my own misery. And sometimes I have a perspective different than other people. I see things or I feel things intuitively that it's just so clear to me. And my irritation comes with, I want them to move along the path already.
Yeah.
Right? Like, come on, don't do that again.
Oh, I'm so familiar with this place.
Because I know we're all on these different paths, and you're over there and I'm over here, and no one's better, no one's worse. But come on. I'm a human, right?
Okay,
so I just kind of want, like, come on, I know you don't need to do that.
Okay, I'm
having a moment.
I got stuff for you on this one, girl.
All right, go.
I do. Oh yeah, because we can all relate.
Yeah, and I'm sure what I'm saying isn't just about me.
It's really about impatience. So in that way, what it's bringing up, it's not that the movie outside of you is necessarily you, and it's bringing up you. So in that moment, it's bringing up, and I felt this too, my impatience. Come on, what are you, stupid? That impatient feeling, right?
Yeah.
Like, get it together.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Okay, now this is where we go back to what we first started talking about, which is, well, when you remember and you go wide and you remember that everyone here is in a field of trauma.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Honestly, you are a starseed. Honestly, I am a starseed. And honestly, we came into this field to help ignite the field,
Right.
because it was in a fallen traumatic state.
Yeah.
So to have expectation that a fallen traumatic state would meet something higher than that when it hasn't really been given is like expecting, like, a field of preschool, or
Right.
it's not, it doesn't
Absolutely.
conducive. So
Yeah.
what do we come into though is like, you remember that, like, oh, there's trauma.
Yeah.
And that person that's doing that thing, that's perpetuating, they're doing it because they're bound by that trauma. They're activating, I'm not enough, I'm not worthy, they don't think they're good enough. And so they continue to create situations that bring the oppressor, the abuser, the victimizer. Then there's programming that literally gets set in. There are entities that come in. There is a lot of levels of clearing to get to Christic light, my friend.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that goes on here. So these programs are very tricky, and it is, the best way I can explain it is really think of everything you understand about this computer. Their operating system is an operating system. There's a lot of files in there, things that are running constantly.
Yeah.
So it works very much like this. In fact, this is mimicking us. So everything you understand about this thing, the computer, you can apply actually in energetic, multidimensional terms, and in your prayeralization space, you can do that there. So the resistance, right? But coming back to your resistance, is the impatience. What we get to do with that is be patient, because I realize where I've been impatient is because, it's like literally, I don't know, this has been a long ride, sister, a long ride. So all I can say about that is we reach into deep compassion, and that's where the shift into the fifth dimensional frequencies really is. And what it's really about is us reaching into more compassion, more patience and compassion for ourselves, first and foremost, and then for all those around us, because we realize they're just hurting. We're all children. If you think of everyone like a 5-year-old,
Yeah.
because that's really what they are.
Yeah.
We're all 5-year-olds going, you hurt me. No, you hurt me. Bleh.
Yeah.
And we're running around because we don't understand our emotions. We don't understand these things that are driving us. We don't understand that we're multidimensional beings. Most people think that this 3D reality is the only reality happening, which is very much not true. There are many levels of realities happening simultaneously, and you yourself have more than one body. We have emotion, we have all these different bodies: emotional,
Right.
etherical, physical, spiritual, monic. So these bodies we're working with, it's more complex. We are multidimensional, which is why I'm always talking about tools, because if we use these tools, they help us peel away the places where maybe that impatience was stuck. Right? We go in there with that intention, like, I'm going to look for that. I'm going to look for that
Well, you
this
know
time.
what?
And
So while you're talking,
Yep.
so the impatience for me is a way for me to not fall in the emotional hole of wanting to fix somebody. So if I'm impatient, I keep that situation or that emotion over somebody struggling at a distance. When I go into compassion, I'm afraid that I will lose me, because I've been known to do that before in my life, and not honor my needs. I'll put other before me, because I've done that many times in my life. So that's kind of an awareness I'm getting from our conversation, that the resistance is in my being. I'm thinking it's serving me to be impatient with whatever situation I'm being impatient with, so that I don't fall into trying to take care of or fix, or so there's some kind of a letting go that I need to do around trusting myself enough to know that I'm not going to get lost by being compassionate. I'm going to be strong in who I am and still be compassionate to whatever situation. There's no need to be impatient.
I love this. And when you do that, now you're going into, so let's say there's a person that comes up, you know, this is what I'm now working with. So the next person that comes to me, I'm going to sit in compassion because you're going to have that opportunity tomorrow at your store.
I sure will.
And you can sit there and compassionately listen.
Yeah.
And you're gauging. Now, if you start to feel yourself want to reach in and do something, you're going to pay attention to where that's coming from and what that's attached to, because those feelings are attached to our wanting to save, right? The savior programming.
Yeah.
There's also literally a program called the Christ Crucifixion Program. And it literally is that Christ Crucifixion. I'm a martyr. And in order to, I have to save everyone. Well, aren't you a do-gooder? Well, then break your back to save that guy.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a program.
Sacrifice your life
That's
for
right.
for other.
And that's actually not what we're here to do. We're here to help lift each other up. And so
Right.
sometimes I can help and sometimes I can't. We've talked about this before. If I'm guided by source and I'm listening to my high heart, then I know, yep, I can help you. Or nope, I got nothing. But you know what? I might think of somebody that might be helpful. Or maybe all I can do is go, I pray for you and I send you love and that you have everything you need. Maybe that's all I can do.
Yeah.
But I'm listening to source, not wound.
So
or
I'm not
emotion.
listening to, I'm starting to get impatient because this person is rambling on about something. When I notice that, then I'm going to source and saying, hey, what's needed here?
And we'll put your compassionate ear on and think, I want
Yeah.
to just observe and listen and then source. Show me if there's anything I can, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You're going to sit in the center.
Yeah.
If anything's pulling you out of the center, then that's your own emotion or wounding trying to get you to play. Right? So.
Yeah.
So we stay in the heart of God. And then that goes back to kind of what I was talking about this on the update, which is really letting go of what we think we know, because we often, you think, well, are you going to go to that thing? Do you want to go? Do you think you should go? Well, it's not really about that. Is it my highest good to go? No, I guess it's not. I'm not going. I mean, for me, it's like that.
Yeah.
So it's getting to where you're navigating what you do and how you experience life just by listening all the time, connected to the high heart. And that's why I talk about being in our tools, using our tools and creating 12th dimensional shields, or just connecting to source, connecting to the earth, seeing yourself in light, and creating these fields so that you are navigating and managing the energy that's going on. Because to remind us all, we're the house, you're a temple, right? We're this temple of God, and everything is trying to plug into you. It's pretty much like everyone's coming over. Hey, do you have a cord? Can I plug my phone in? That's literally all. Like everywhere you go, that's what they're doing. Everybody's like, can I plug in? Can I just get a little power? And you walk in a store. Great, thanks for coming in. Plug. Like, so everywhere you go, this is happening. So this is a whole mind shift of realizing this isn't woo-woo. It's physics. It's energy management. This is about managing your energetic multidimensional field, because you are a divine co-creative being who has infinite potentiality. So in knowing that, you start to go, oh, I need to like manage this stuff. So every time I go in a place, you get to go, okay, that was great. Just like your phone, you opened it up, swipe it closed. Thank you, that was great.
Right.
You swipe the energy closed. I talked to so-and-so. That was great. Did they need anything? Great. I prayed for them. Boom. Done. It's out. I'm done with that whole gig.
Yeah.
Now I'm totally present for the next whatever gig.
Right.
And there's no threads hanging on to me from the previous thing, because I'm fully here. I clean myself off. I'm like present here with you, Cheyenne, just listening to source.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, when you're talking about, as we're talking about, where I might go to judgment or I might go to impatience, as you were talking about that, I'm like, this is a dance. This isn't like get there and stay there and you'll be there forever. It's a dance as you practice it better and better and better and better.
Yes and no. Because judgment, you just moved out judgment, and that's, I'm going to draw on that one. Judgment itself is an energy attached to I'm not enough, I'm not worthy, some sort of judgment. Because judgment is we're judging ourselves. God, I didn't do a good enough job. Well, that person did overseas. She's supposed to do it like that. Because we do that to ourselves. That's why we're judging. So we're judging because we still are holding some unworthiness or I'm not enough. So truthfully, if we heal, this is why I love energy, right? Heal the energetics. You've actually just done all that. Now all you need to do is stock your mind for the program click, because you may have done it a long time, but you have to heal the energy.
Yeah.
So if you have a wound still from your childhood where this still came up, right, you'll want to go there. and you'll want to activate and zero it out. And that's that memory sweep that I've talked about. I'll touch on it real quick here because it's such an important process. And right now it's critical that we sweep out as much as possible, right? So you're going into any memory you could touch. Let's say it draws you to one. You'll go in and just ask your inner child to take you to that memory and freeze it. Freezing is important because movement creates trauma. So you freeze that. You're with your inner self at whatever age. It can be any age from 3 to 50, whatever. I mean, any age, whatever age. And so you're with yourself. You're seeing and asking yourself, what are they experiencing? What are you feeling? You're drawing into what they're feeling. Maybe they're feeling like, oh, I'm scared. I'm not enough. I'm not worthy. My dad's yelling at me. Whatever might be happening. We'll use that as an example. So you draw it into showing your inner self. We'll see he actually was yelled at as a child. You can see that he's totally held by cobwebs. His neck is contorted. He himself is being held by things that are not of himself. He was treated poorly himself, which is why he's treating you that way. It's nothing to do with you. You as the higher self in this moment now understand that. Your 5-year-old self doesn't get that. You're 5. So you're explaining it to your 5-year-old like you would a 5-year-old right now.
Right.
So you're explaining it to them like, see that? And so they're like, oh, and you're like, I've got you. I'm going to love you. I've got you. You and me. You're amazing. You're worthy. You're enough. You're giving them everything they weren't receiving. You look around that space and you may sense a color. You may sense a thing. You may just feel like an energy. You're just intentionalizing anything that belongs to me that I've left here in this dimensional space to return back to rightful owner, to myself. So if you see, like, often we might drop some of our heart chakra on the ground, like, and it's green all over the wall. Bring that green back into your heart. That's my heart that I dropped here thinking I wasn't enough. Or my solar plex, it's yellow. Maybe there's energy that wasn't enough. Or you see a stone or a jewel, put it on your crown, make a belt, whatever you perceive for yourself. You're drawing that energy back. Then you're taking that entire field of that memory and forgiving everything in it, forgiving yourself, turning the entire thing into purple light. As you do that process, you're like zeroing it, and whatever you like. If you're old school, you can see it like a purple dot fading away from you further and further and further and further. If you're like more like techie, you could see it like a screen, like and a cursor, tink, 0. Like this, everything's zeroed out, one cursor blinking, ting, ting, ting. However you like to visualize, your vessel and whatever your information is the beauty of your divine co-creative computer. So you have all this knowledge that can be filtered through your infinite wisdom of your soul. So we all are very different in how that wisdom comes out because we all have different experiences of that. So so you zero it out, and then you've now brought back all that energy. You're now zeroed. That's like something now gone home. It's like we've composted that piece of fruit that's been outstanding. We've sent it back to the tree of life. We've sent everything home, and our goal is to put everything into wholeness. So all these fragments that are out, these outstanding memories, wounds, traumas, they're fragments, they're separation. We are taking them, bringing everything back into wholeness, into your own being, what is yours, and releasing what does not serve back home to the infinite light to be transmuted unto source. Everything is one thing.
We're going to take a station break. Thank you so much, dear. All right, hold on. We'll be right back.
The Kohala Artists Co-op is hosting a benefit through the month of March to support the Bond Library Restoration Project to open a cultural center in North Kohala called the Kohala Heritage Center. This unique show will feature an extensive display of driftwood, rock, and shell sculptures created by legendary artist Kinji Yokoyama. 2 original paintings by local artist Patrick Rankin have been donated for a silent auction, and our members added to the auction an exceptional body of work for this worthy cause. Don't miss the opportunity to see this historical artwork on display and contribute to the Kohala Heritage Center.
Great goddess I am,
so thankful to have you guiding me, protecting me. I am so thankful to have
Aloha Kohala. This is Eila Algood of Women's Voices. Change is in the air. Women's Voices will now be once a week, every Wednesday from 4 to 6 p.m. I hope you can tune in to KNKRLP 96.1 FM Kohala and listen to sensational songs by female artists from right here in Kohala and around the world.
protecting me. I am so thankful to have you guiding me, protecting me. I am.
The Kohala Community Development Plan Subcommittee on Agriculture invites you to join the Kohala Agriculture Visioning event on Saturday, March 25th from 9 a.m. to noon at Hisakoa Gym in Kamehameha Park. Participants will meet to share their knowledge and ideas for planning the future of a sustainable agriculture in our community. Lunch will be provided. Following the visioning event, from 3:30 to 6:30 p.m., the community is invited to join in celebrating a Taste of Kohala. There will be Kohala fresh farm-to-table products, local produce, live demonstrations, live entertainment, and food booth. All this is happening on Saturday, March 25th at Kamehameha Park. For more information, email kohalaagvision@gmail.com. That is kohalaagvision@gmail.com.
Welcome back. You're listening to KNKRLP 96.1 FM Kohala. It's 3:33 on 3/23/23.
Tree.
Yes, and you're listening to Intuitive Talk Story with
Michal Anna.
and Eila Algood. So yeah, wow, we were just rolling along there, weren't we?
Well, these processes are so very important. If you're wanting, it's all about what you want. I mean, we're all here to do whatever we're here to do. It
Yeah.
is a river. There's no definitives. There's no right way. There are just ways on the river to go home. And if you are on the path, if you're listening to the show, most
Yeah.
likely you're
Yeah.
on the path of moving your Christic light, of wanting to peel away the layers and come back into wholeness, that you're wanting tools to move into greater harmony with yourself and sovereignty, and that we are striving as a collective to be in a field of unity where we are truly co-creating with one another. I've talked about the round table, and that's what we really are in. We're bringing back the King Arthur timeline, this magical timeline where we're at the round table, all sitting emblazoned in our gifts. Everyone's amazing. I mean, right now we're here in a trinity, and we are each powerful, amazing beings. I might understand things in a different way and have all this other
Right.
knowledge. That isn't hierarchical.
No,
I just
it's just
understand
different.
it. Right.
Yeah.
So, see, the magnitude of what we all are is magnificent. And when we express that and we aren't like in a competition, when we've done the self-work to own our own power and go, I love myself and I'm enough and I'm worthy, now I'm not putting myself up against you when I'm sitting in a room.
Right.
Now I'm just here in the room and being, God, she's amazing. God, she's cool. Look at that.
Yeah.
Now we're all celebrating one another's gifts. We're all lifting each other up to express more. Oh, that one's Eila. Eila, you're the best at this. Oh, get Eila over here.
Yeah.
See, we are doing more of that because we are in harmony and peace in our own inner being. And
Right.
that truly, why do we want to do all this? Because we want to experience inner harmony, peace, balance, and ultimately move up the evolutionary ladder into higher levels of love and ecstasy,
Yeah.
joy, expression,
And
creativity.
we need one another to get there. We can't, one of us going off isn't the way to me, the way the world works. It's us. I'm doing my stuff, you're doing your stuff. We come together and do our stuff, and we all help each other kind of evolve.
Yes, and there's still nobody out there. So it's still I actually have been doing just my own thing in order to get to the place where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, I reflect and utilize every mirror and everything that's put in front of me. But I can't rely on you
Right.
or Ina You know, like,
Right.
oh, if we don't all go together, I'm not going. Oh, I
Yeah.
can't do that. I'm going with
Yeah.
or without you, ladies.
Yeah.
Sorry. But I'm down to reflect and help. And like, you want to do too? Cool, let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, it's our commitment to source and commitment to the path that draws us to the path. And this is really important, actually, in partnership.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have had that kind of commitment in all my partnerships, really, but definitely in the partnership I am in, our commitment is to source first and foremost. And that commitment to source allows us to look over and go, you're still here. We're here doing the work because we're committed to the work, because we're committed to source, because we're committed to peeling away the layers. I'm not
Right.
committed to you. I'm committed to source. We get to be together because we're doing the work. We get to experience this because of that.
Right. It's kind of like when people come together it could be in a business, and you have you have to have your values, your mission needs to align. And if you always come back to that mission, then you're going to grow. But if one decides that's their mission is not to connect with source and to serve source, and they just want to go travel around the world and have some fun, it's not right or wrong. It's just now that partnership's not, or that group is not going to work with that person, because they need to go. They're going to go do something else.
Right. And in those ways, this gets into being more an allowing of like, what's in my highest good. I have been in life in other partnerships where we just weren't growing any longer. I felt kind of like that. Like, I want to deepen into source, and we're just not on the same place in that game, or that, that wantingness. And so
in the movie,
you're a movie. We're both in just different places.
Yeah.
So we have to honor that. I really love everything we've shared, and I respect and honor it entirely. And we're just no longer serving one another. We're no longer growing. And we could serve each other better in a different role, in a different capacity. So being able to do that is about having a conscious enough awareness, right? To go into a higher love of like, I want the highest good for you and me. And I mean, you're not experiencing the happiness either with what like we're both not getting our needs met here in a way that is serving. We're both feeling ugh. So we need to move forward. So that might be something that happens, and out there. I mean, there are moments where you have to honor whatever it is you're going through. Right. And also there's times where maybe you just give each other space. Everyone is different. Your call is different. It's about listening to your inner voice, your inner self. None of our paths are the same. There is no right way when it comes to that. It's really about what's ordained, what you've signed up for, your own soul purpose, why you make agreements with certain souls. That's all very personal, and it's your own. But there's templates of how we can communicate, how we can move through our own wounding. So that's why we say it is of utmost importance. If you just stay focused on your own work, there's nobody out there. If you do that, because what a lot of people, back to the relationships, get stuck on, well, if she would just stop doing blah, blah, then I would do blah, blah.
Right. And then we'd be
she
okay.
Does blah, blah.
Right.
And, well, if you'll stop doing blah, blah, I'll stop doing blah, blah. Making it dependent on somebody else for me to make a free will choice. So we start to blame or assume or push responsibility
Well, it's also
elsewhere.
looking at behavior rather than, this is much deeper than behavior.
Right. It's
I mean,
wound.
I can have some, less than perfect behavior one day, but I'm still following that mission of connecting with source and serving, serving. But I'm just a little off right now. That's different than somebody who really just doesn't even want to go there. They don't want to be in this, let's serve source, and it's not their thing. That's not where they want to be going, and that's okay.
Well, and that's all personal, definitely personal choices. But what I'd like to say about that is that it's what I love about making conscious agreements in partnership, is that it's one thing if you're activating your 9-year-old and let's say you're getting yelled at every day and it's unconscious and this just happens every day, that's not going to really fly.
Yeah.
But if we've made an agreement that you're moving towards harmony and looking at yourself when something comes up like we just talked about, and then you're going to go do that process, and then you're going to try and like figure out your stuff and own your own power, now that's a different story. Now we're engaged in the work.
Yeah.
So one can be
Yeah.
like almost feel like you're in a victimizer thing, or the other feels like we're helping one another to grow and be empowered to know ourselves by using the reflection and being honest about what we're doing and having agreements to do that. So
Right.
see, how we see something changes it. How we set it up changes it. The containers, the agreements we make create parameters that then we then work within. This is also why we create shields when you do work, when you're creating for yourself. That's why you're creating a safe place for you to engage in this deep of multidimensional work, because you are in a multidimensional field and there's stuff everywhere, like we said before, trying to hook in and blah, blah, blah. So you're not just opening everything up. You're creating places to work with each thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think it would be, it could be beneficial for people listening to talk a little bit about, as we're talking about multidimensional and things hooking onto you and programs, to maybe just, I know we've talked about it before, but just to separate it a little bit so that it's not all mushed together.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like, let's just say programs. What do you think of when you think of somebody has a lot of programs running?
Okay, so program was connected to what we talked about before, like I am not worthy, I'm not good enough, I'm not valued, I'm not loved. It's some base wound. There's not that many really that we're operating from. So then if I'm operating from an I'm not worthy program, that means I'm giving my power away thinking I'm not enough. So when I then hook in to something because I'm giving power away. I don't think I have it, so therefore, but I do. See, this is the thing, as we all do. So it's kind of like you have a shiny apple, and I don't think I do, so I set it on my shoulder, and then a bunch of bugs just come and eat it. So just because I don't think I have it doesn't mean I don't. So it's nothing goes to waste in the universe.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, she's not using that. Hook in. Great. There's a hole. I'll draw some power. Everything's looking for power.
So stop right there, because
so what
that's
is
another
everything
thing.
That's looking for power?
Yes.
So this is a separated field. Okay, so now this might get a little esoteric and a little out there.
We
for
like
some,
that. We can do
but,
that.
So we're in the three-dimensional field. This field is pretty much the lowest dimensional framework that we can really be in. It's a fallen system that fell quite a long time ago after the Lemuria incidents, which if you are activating and understanding that, then there's actually loops happening right now, war timeline loops are active. If you were involved in the Lemurian Holocaust, the Atlantean times, which many of you were, who are here in Hawaii, many of you were. So you might be having activations of emotion, feeling trauma that was triggered by loss or deep energies from that time period, which some of the war things that are going on right now are kind of built to trigger that. So at any rate, you want to move through those things using these processes, dealing with the trauma and the experience of that. So the programming comes from these traumas that are laid in from these older time periods, because we're souls on a really long journey.
Right. And it could be programs from our childhood, from our growing up, from the...
They usually show up in your childhood. Like,
Yeah.
really, you can think 0 to 7 is where most everything is laid in that you're going to unwind throughout the rest of your journey.
Right.
So those really deep core programs, because feeling love, feeling safety, these are really big issues. So most people on the planet have not grown with love and safety, because it's been a system, this fallen system. When I say a fallen system, I mean that there's been a place where you don't know you're a divine co-creator. You don't know that you're going to have pain and wound. Nobody tells you that you have these tools and that you have the ability to navigate yourself. You're not told any of those things. You're fed poison in the supermarkets. They put chemicals in your water. They spray chemicals in the air. Everything is built to basically block your vessel, this thing, from operating, to run crystal light through it, to navigate the tools I just talked about. So that's...
So we're cleaning all that up.
So we have to detoxify.
On many levels,
You
yeah.
have to detoxify your vessel and clean everything up. And so this what the point is, we want to... It's like a computer. They go, oh no, there's a virus in the system. We got to upgrade. They always tell you upgrade, right? Upgrade. You got to
upgrade. If you upgrade,
it'll fix it, right? This is what we're doing. There's a virus in the system.
Right.
There's low dimensional virus. There's too many bugs
Yeah.
They're separated energies. They're literally just separated from God. It's energies that have broke away from God. Think of the tree of life and think of a fruit that broke off, and it's like, I don't want to compost. I want to just keep being a fruit, but I have to eat you in order to do that. Hang, 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 hang. So it doesn't want to compost. It just wants to keep eating. So it eats from stuff. So that's like these bugs are just, it's bugs that are separated but have to eat from life force in order to keep existing. So there's too many. It's overrun. You have to upgrade.
Yeah. So
See?
as we upgrade, as we evolve ourselves through all the tools and practices and work that we all talk about all the time, we become, as our vibration moves up, those things they can't get us anymore.
They aren't in your field because, like I spoke
they're not
about
in your
the
field,
beginning, a
right.
higher vibratory field, it's moving too fast for a denser energy
Right.
to actually exist there. So back to that example of judgment. If you're no longer activating, I'm not enough, I'm not worthy, judgment actually goes with it. It's an
Yeah,
energy
right.
that comes in based on it's like a friend, like, hey, I'm judgment, I hang out with I'm not good enough, and they're like friends.
Yes.
So you're like, judgment, I'm done with you too, you get to go, bye. And because they're energies, so they go together. So once you're like, I'm enough, once you walk into the field of unity and go, I love myself, you actually look around and it's like you are everything. And like everything is you. So why would I judge anything? I love everything. Everything's me. That rock is me. That's you. Everything's me. You feel that innately. And so why would I ever want to hurt anybody or anything?
Right.
Why would I
Right.
want to judge anything? Because well,
Right.
you are me. I don't want to hurt myself. So it's an innate feeling that comes with it because those are lower density energies that come with trauma programming. So as we release those programs, we don't actually feel those energies any longer. They don't even exist there, like at all. Like I don't ever feel the energy of judgment in
So
my
if-
beingness. I feel observer, like, oh, I'm very curious. Like
Do
I
you think
love
do you
hearing
think-
about stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Do you think it's possible that somebody
But I used to feel judgment.
Yeah, that a person can go through their processes and they do their work, but then they have like maybe years go by and then something triggers something and they find out, oh no, it wasn't all totally cleaned up because I'm having that feeling that I haven't had in a long time.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people are having that, especially if they're older, because honestly, there haven't been a lot of tools out there that were the real tools until
Right,
more
other than
recently,
psychological, going
which
to the
isn't
shrink.
really it.
Like,
It's not it. It doesn't
that-
do it.
yeah, no, I know.
And and most of the like spiritual stuff that's been given, nobody has talked about the dark night. Nobody just told people that are on the spiritual path, the new age path, the whatever path, that you have to go into this dark night. I mean, it's in the Bible, 40 days and 40 nights, you have to go into, your dark night to know God. There is that for ourselves. We have to die many ego deaths. There's a lot of surrender. Nobody talks about the real depths of that so much. You see it more if you study scripture, right? There are people.
I've seen it in some of the Joseph Campbell stuff, The Power of Myth, looking at the human myths over
Right.
time. Yeah.
So that's come out more and
Yeah.
more as, a lot of different people over the last 20 years have really discussed these things in more depth. But prior to that, it wasn't as much available. It
Yeah,
felt
yeah.
like,
yeah. No, you went to church or you didn't go to church and
Right.
that was that.
You didn't have
yeah.
as many options for
Right.
these tools. So now it's like, oh, what I thought you did all the things you knew.
Yeah.
And then, but they just didn't know the other stuff to go deeper because there's another layer and another layer. So there are many layers. There are many layers that you have to shed. We are literally cleaning up and owning our power, like I said, from all these fragmented places, bringing it into wholeness. So you're bringing awareness and consciousness. To be here now really means you're not moving anywhere else in your mind. You're not going to, like Eila says, I don't know. She says something that takes me to, oh no, that reminds me of my dad when he does blah, blah. Anywhere. If I go anywhere, I'm literally have something that's connected. See?
Right.
So there's still, if you stock your mind like that and you're just even in conversation, it doesn't even have to be a deep wound. It can just be a slight belief, a slight program. Not everything has to be like wounding. It could just be a promise I made, an oath that I believed into, something I bought into. It can be a slight thing I gave my power to. Well, I always thought I had to do blah, blah to be blah, blah.
Yeah.
It could be that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think a lot of us have had those blah blahs.
Right. So in that way, you're
know?
going to direct connect. A lot of folks, this big one, have had a lot of third-party hookups. So that's a lot of religion.
What do you mean?
So like the Pope, right? What are you doing if you're Catholic? You go into the little box and you talk to
Confess.
and you confess, and
Yeah.
he's a third party.
Yeah.
It's not a direct connect
Oh,
situation.
yeah.
You
No,
gotta go
no,
through
it's
the
like
guy,
it's like the
right?
guy's got it, but you don't.
Right.
Yeah.
And you go into a box,
Yeah.
which is also fascinating.
Yes.
We won't get into that right now. But anyway, so the religion, that whole thing is third party element. Okay. So
Yes.
it defers
You have to go
your
through
energy.
somebody.
So if I've made an agreement like that, I've
Yeah.
agreed to give my energy to a third party, that
Mm-hmm.
my connection is not direct to God.
Mm.
So that means I'm blocked, most likely, with my connection to God,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not getting the full extent of my connection to God, because I don't believe.
Because you don't believe you
I don't
could.
believe I can.
Yeah, because
So
you were
see-
taught that.
Right. So I've now bought that. I'm believing it, and
Right.
I activate it, and I keep it in place.
Right.
I can break that promise, that oath, that agreement I've made. I can break it. I can choose to go, that's not what I believe anymore. I want to have a direct connection to source. I'm connected to God, and I can talk to God directly. I get to do that. Well,
Yeah.
you can claim it right now if you want. If that's
Yeah.
you, claim it today.
Just
you know,
do it.
like do
Just
it right
do
now.
it.
Direct
Yeah.
connect. You have a direct connection to source. Let it go. Take your breath. Whew. You are a divine co-creator. You are a child of the infinite.
Mm-hmm.
We are a hologram of the infinite hologram. As we ask, so shall it be. So, you know, we infuse. You're praying all the time. You're speaking, you're praying. You're spelling. We are using language and vibration and intonation all day long. What are you doing with it? You driving in your car? Are you thinking about all the stuff that's going wrong? Or are you going, nope, you know what? I'm just gonna claim my authority over my life while I drive. You know, I am amazing, I'm powerful, I love myself, I love my family, I love what I'm doing, I have great clients, I have great work. You know, I'm just so grateful for everything that's going down. You know, where are you putting your time? Are you sitting down and watching junk and just feeding your mind, hooking into the computers? I literally went to a friend's house the other day, the child, and this is what I'm seeing dimensionally. So you talked about seeing a lot of things and feeling
Yeah.
patient. I've had to experience a lot of patience myself. So, you know, there's a child, and literally he's freaking out to get off the computer to go do an activity. And I walked
He doesn't
in-
want to let go
no,
of the
and I walked
computer.
in there, he's 4.
He doesn't want to unplug.
And to my viewpoint, he's covered in energetic cobwebs
Yeah.
wrapped around his entire body. And there are literally filters dug into his eyes and into his ears from the technological dimension.
Yeah.
So I literally broke it all.
Yeah.
And then I had the 4-year-old claim his authority over himself and speak his own words, that nothing has power here, and I have full authority over my vessel. I'm connected to source, the earth, and nothing else. And to put himself in a light bubble, and every time you're going to go use the computer, you're going to put yourself in that light bubble and use it, so nothing's coming in from the field, because you're opening a dimension. That's a whole thing going on there. That's a whole people live in there. They have virtual lives in there. They have lots going on in there.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, like, you are literally entering a dimensional field. You need to be in a bubble, because otherwise, guess what? You're tired. You get off the computer. You feel drained. Well, yeah, you are drained. You just got corded by all that tech. So literally, you want to flush all that stuff off. And when you use it consciously back to, you know, becoming aware, energy management, we just know, I'm going to use this thing. Nothing in and of itself is evil.
Right.
We are powerful divine co-creators. Just create awareness. I know that this is what it is. So shield up, get ready. I'm going to use the stuff. Boom, 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 boom. And now I'm done. Close the field. Thank you. I loved this experience. Thank you so much.
And then you move on.
And you move on.
Yeah.
And we teach our youth.
Yeah.
We teach our people how to do this as children now. See, this is, to me, the New Earth field, is we start to teach empowered education that's based on the real things, the authentic way of living, and the truth about energy management and who we really are, versus remember all these facts about whatever.
Yeah, history. Yeah. That's somebody who didn't do well in that
I
subject.
mean, ask a 10-year-old right now how much they've been told about their body since they've been here on the planet.
Yeah.
I've asked, and they're like, not very much, actually. I don't really know much at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that was true for many people, but that doesn't mean it needs to continue to be true.
It's not going to
We
continue
need
to
to
be true,
change
because
it.
we, as a collective,
Yes.
all of us, all of you listening, all of us together, as we choose our freedom, as we choose to walk into the unified field, we are choosing to build this new earth. This new earth is one of unity, of community.
Unity and
Sharing,
consciousness and knowing
teaching,
things about
flourishing.
yourself, right? And sharing with one another in a way that empowers one another, so that we're supporting one another rather than competing with one another. We're done with that.
That's right. And it's a choice that we all get to make. And in
Yeah.
our community, we have such a beautiful community here,
We
and
do.
so many people choosing unity, community, helping one another. Thank you to all of our beautiful community here in North
Absolutely.
Kohala. So grateful for the many elders who've been examples to me. I've learned from you all, and I've been born and I'm raised through Kohala, I feel.
Yeah.
Over, it's raised me in many ways to come and be here, because the land, Tutupele, all of these things are here for us to draw from. We get to breathe with her, and it's really about her, this mother, Earth Mother. This is what it's really about, is us giving to the earth, to us lifting the earth grid, which we do by lifting ourselves. We're a piece of the earth. But ultimately,
Absolutely.
back to that patience.
Yeah.
Not everyone is actually ready. For those of you out there who resonate with being a star or feeling that energy,
Yeah.
not everyone is ready to do that whole thing, and that's okay. It's all where everyone is, and that's okay. We are in this shift of timelines. It's kind of like, like a lot of people just won't even know it shifted. Like, it just happened. It's like, so
Not everybody has to
kid,
be aware of
Matt
every
McLaughlin
moment.
talks about this physics thing. He's fabulous. He was this brilliant 14-year-old at the time, but he was, I'm not going to say it real well, but basically saying how, like, in the Mandela effect, if you understand about that, how there's just like little bands of parallel universes all tightly squeezed together, and we just moved one during that Mandela effect, that 2012. This is a similar kind of thing. We're like moving, and that's where the wah comes in, is we're in between. We're like moving into timelines. You're solidifying kind of like your own parallel universe, I suppose.
Yeah.
Something to that effect.
I hear you.
I'm no expert at this.
Well, we're not. Well,
On
anyway.
parallel universes and whatnot.
Yeah.
Words can be funny, but it's a feeling, right? Back to the
Yeah.
feeling and drawing into that feeling of the new earth, as you spoke about in the beginning of this talk. Because we're coming very close to the end.
Yes, we are.
And so what I think is most important here is that this week, it's really pivotal. Shifts are happening. Do your sweeps, use these tools, listen to it again if you want. It will be on Spotify.
Well, and there's all kinds of other stuff
There's-
you have on Michal Anna YouTubes of prior shows, and there's lots of podcasts on Spotify, Apple, and Google. One thing I want to say to kind of end is that there's probably a lot of people out there who may have related to my impatience conversation. Yes.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
What I really got in our conversation is that it's possible to listen to what's going on, listen to other, and notice the impatience, and then say, okay, I'm not going to be impatient. I'm going to listen to them, and I'm also going to connect with my higher self and my source to know whether there's something to say or do here that's going to help, that's going to be positive. And maybe there is, maybe there isn't. But like you said, maybe it's somebody you feel moved to, can I give you a hug? Maybe it's a few words that you say that you didn't even know where they came from. You didn't think about them, but they just come out of your mouth. It's really nice to have a tool like that. There's all these other tools we talk about, but this is another tool for when we're interacting with one another. So,
and that
thank
really
you.
takes into, thank you, Eila, and I just want to expand on that for a second, because your show's next, so we, okay.
Yes.
So,
We can be late
we
for
could be a
women's
little
voices.
late. And so, it's really about being the observer, right? That's moving out of the judgment and moving into the observer.
Yes.
And taking a third-party look, like pulling yourself out of it, and you're just watching it with no feeling.
Right, you're observing
anywhere,
yourself, and
the
you're
person.
observing the other,
Right.
and you're like,
You're
what could be
observer.
useful here?
Correct.
Love
so
that.
it takes us back to 0 point.
Yeah.
Zero energy, back to the center. And so as we get back into the center, I just want to encourage us all as we move through this time. We do our own peel away to continue moving into creating more harmony, more crystal light through our vessel, and visioning What does the new earth look like to you? How do you see that community? How are things showing up? What do you vision this beautiful, cooperative place that you would like to live in? The more we can all vision that and push through our own resistance that we might have with being in alignment with our own vision. A lot of us want it to look a certain way, but we're not willing to give up things in order for it to be that way. So we have to literally push through our own blocks and restrictions to get that vision. So I just put out there to all you this week to vision what that looks like and to feel into what does it feel like? What am I feeling? I'm feeling joy, feeling good. And so what am I doing if I'm feeling joy and happiness? What am I doing if I'm feeling alive and passionate? So where does that take me? And drawing into that feeling of what you're wanting to create and breathing it through your body and knowing you are worthy. And if any place is coming up, do all the processes so that you can fully inhabit that feeling and spiral up this rung as we move into greater vibrational health and harmony with ourselves and therefore one another.
Thank you for today. Thank you for fully participating. Thank you to our assistants here who came to listen and share energy with us. And to those of you out there listening, thank you. We'll be back in a couple weeks, and stay tuned for Women's Voices in just a moment.